Welcome to Leaders Lead Podcast. Are you ready to conquer your challenges and achieve greatness? Join us as we dive into inspirational stories of industry leaders who have overcome adversity and reached new heights. Get ready for electrifying insights and captivating conversations that will ignite your passions for success. This is your go-to show for empowerment, growth, and leadership. Buckle up. Leaders Lead Podcast is here to take you on a transformational ride. Hey, welcome, my friends. This is Tony Taylor with Leaders Lead the Podcast. Again, I am super excited. Today, we got a special guest for you. I got my brother from Holo Sail Technologies, and we thought that this would be a good opportunity to bring him in, especially with all of this chaos that we have in the news today. What's going on, Johnny? Let's get right into it. Everybody know who you are, brother. What's going on, man?
Well, first of all, what's going on, brother? Semper Fi, do or die.
Hoorah.
Hoorah. I mean, today, the geopolitical atmosphere is absolutely crazy. And to add to the flames to the fire, you have all these new advanced technologies, right, that are coming on. ChatGPT just announced that they're trying to do, and I'll explain it later for people. Are you ready for this rabbit hole? Are you really ready for this rabbit hole? Okay. All right. We'll go into the rabbit hole, man. I mean, it's Alice in Wonderland out there. So, they have, they're trying to get AGI, which is like almost like self-aware AI, for the novice. It's a little bit more complicated, but we'll keep it simple, stupid. But they've literally come to the point where they don't have enough room to store any more data, and they've basically scrubbed the internet from data. Now, I want to just say one thing. The internet is biased. Everybody knows it, right? So you don't necessarily, or you'll never get an actual consciousness from it, right? I applaud their efforts, and what they've done is actually really good. AI, like I said in our previous podcast, worst name for the technology. It's not artificial and it's not intelligent. It is a human coder that codes machine learning to teach itself how to make algorithms on its own. So if you have any bias at all, it's going to balloon out into something crazy. Now, AI is this a buzzword right now, and it is good. It's got its uses, but the more important and more serious threat we're facing today is data breaches, hacking, and our own as citizens. So as companies, organizations, churches, political organizations, schools, their personal data, their personal information is being just stolen left and right. I mean, it's gotten to the point where it's multiple daily major data breaches and major corporations. And our DOD has been hacked. Our DOD, the Congress, U.S. Congress, the White House, and multiple other agencies have been hacked multiple times now.
Did you say the DOD?
The entire DOD system has been hacked yet again. About 3 days ago, a state-backed hacker, they have not identified the state that was backing this hacker, used a malware, a hacking attack, a new one that they are nicknaming the raccoon attack. And so pretty much anything the DOD says is being listened to by an unknown state-backed hacker right now.
And they still don't know who the hell it is.
They may. They're not saying who, and I know for a fact they haven't fixed it. It's all over the dark web. They're basically just letting anybody listen to whatever every agency in the federal government has to say on any line. Yeah.
Whoa.
This is shortly after U.S. Congress's email was hacked. This is shortly after the White House's email staff was hacked. So it's pretty intense. If you think about it, we're we left Afghanistan after 20 years of war fighting terror. We have a major terrorist attack on October 7th. We have 2 carrier strike groups on standby that are actually active, being shot at. 2 container ships were just shot, or actually bulk carrier ships were shot with missiles, I believe, yesterday or the day before, by terrorists. And also, a U.S. destroyer was fired at. Fortunately, the U.S. destroyer was able to down all of the attacks, but unfortunately, that bulk carriers were both struck. I believe nobody was injured, but there was definitely damage in cargo damage.
Wow, those were done. Those were done with drones, right?
Drones and missiles.
Oh wow. Wow. Yeah, man. I'm curious about this. As we're talking right now, this whole thing with data. Just last month, somebody opened up a credit card with $15,000 in my name. Well, let me rewind it. Let me rewind this. I'll tell you this scenario, and then maybe you can tell me what this means, or if this can be connected, or the people that are listening, what does this mean for everybody? But I'll tell you, my wife and I, we were on the phone with an agency, basically let them know that they were doing some things that were unfavorable. And it was weird. It was almost like as soon as we got off the phone with them, right? And this is not a government agency, not at all. As soon as and I don't think that they're like professionals either, but as soon as we get off the phone with them, all of a sudden, our family's email account is like, congratulations, you've signed into this. It's congratulations. Thank you for opening up your new account. And we're like, what the hell, dude? Literally, it was hundreds, if not thousands of new subscriptions. And so we start blocking all of it and doing all of that. But we were getting some stuff from a bank. What's the name of that bank? Chase Bank. And we ignored it for a couple of days, and it said, hey, you know what? There's a credit card open in your account, $15,000. We just had somebody try to buy some, I think they were going to they were doing some stupid stuff, man. If I had $15,000 of somebody else, I would do something totally different than trying to go to 7-Eleven or some of the stupid stuff that they were doing. But we ended up getting it fixed. Do you think that is connected to this, or
it is? So I'll start off. I just came back from a family vacation. Got COVID, so I look a little pale, guys. Sorry about that. A really bad case. 2 weeks, and I'm just now recovering. However, we went to a vacation. I'm not going to name any names because we enjoyed our time and everything else. But while we were at this park, it had an app, right? And I didn't bring any of my. I have like a million devices. I didn't bring any of my. I just brought my personal device, and I put the app on my personal device. The second day we were there, my Apple Wallet was hacked through the app from the park.
Oh wow!
And I started getting notifications of somebody using my credit card for, like you said, like $11, $8, $6, right? Now I'm going to back up and let's look at the rabbit hole. Let's look at the Wonderland broadly, right? So the internet was always designed to be shared. It was designed originally by the U.S. Navy, actually. And then scientists to share their work and to grow and to be able to communicate at the very beginning. So there's always a flaw, it's never been designed to be necessarily secure from the very beginning of the internet. So like a lot of people are like, oh, so what's going on? So for the listeners that are tech savvy, I may be, but for those that, or like you, right? Or my wife is like, what are these credit card charges, right? Yeah. while we're standing in line for a really cool ride with our kids eating a churro. So what happens is, and I don't believe it's anybody's fault. What we've done here is technology has grown faster than we're any individual company or person can actually keep up with. The cloud is where these companies are storing the data, right? The cloud is basically a hacker's playground. So, for example, GTP, we'll stop naming names. All of these companies, right? They actually, their data is on a cloud, right? A cloud server. And now, for those of you that may not know this, that are, electric vehicles are good for, the environment. What they don't realize is those EVs use all their software runs on the cloud. The fourth largest cloud provider produced over roughly around 73 million metric tons of carbon from the cloud alone. So a lot of people are like, oh, I'm streaming music, but I'm listening to my streamed music from a cloud at a environmental protest, right? Meanwhile, they're actually contributing to the problem. And I digress a little bit. Let's go further into the issue. What the issue is so you have this big cloud, right? And multiple companies use it, you can go to all different types of clouds. And it's what they call 0-day code error or day one code error. And what that is from the very beginning, when they first, came up with the concept, they never realized how fast it would grow, how many third parties would happen, advertisers. Now they start making third party deals with advertisers, right? Now that opens up more. Let's break it down to a Marine Corps analogy, right? When you are setting up a perimeter, you don't want it, and you only have, let's say, a squad element. You're not going to set up a perimeter that's 15 miles wide because you don't have enough guys or gals to cover that, right? Mm-hmm. You're going to set up a nice tight perimeter. You're going to be spread out enough so you don't get hit. But what happened in the world of technology and why these breaches are continuing to happen is that you had a squad element that had to branch out, not just 15 miles, thousands of miles, right? And then they had to hire other people they don't even know to come into that area that they have secure. So there's no way for them to know or verify all of the actors that are in this cloud and be able to do anything about it. So that's where you see this common practice right now is, and this is where our technology differs from what is being currently used. And the old system, the way that it is being used now is basically it's not if you're going to have a data breach or if you're going to get hacked, it's when. So now there's a whole industry now designed to patch the hack when it happens because they know it's going to happen, right? Yeah. What we decided to do is come up with a way that you don't ever have to worry about getting hacked this is a little technical, by decentralizing the information, encrypting it in transit and in rest. And also, okay, so we'll break that down.
Barney style.
All right. I'm sure you've heard of blockchain, right? Bitcoin.
Yeah.
All right. Everybody knows about Bitcoin. And I'm not going to say anything bad about Bitcoin. Blockchain is a great technology. However, if you have Bitcoin or Ethereum, anybody out there that has cryptocurrency, the blockchain is like a wheel, and it's actually very cyber secure. The breach is that really the major. There are a few backdoors. I won't go into it because I don't want to encourage bad actors on your podcast. But the one that everybody knows is called a 51% attack, right? So if somebody controls 51% of the blockchain, they basically can control it completely. That's really its major Achilles heel. But what happens is you don't necessarily have your wallet in the blockchain. Your wallet is provided by a bank, crypto bank, right? So when you transfer that out, guess what it's going through? That giant maze of a cloud I just explained to you, right? So that's where everybody gets their money stolen from. All these big crypto thefts, they're coming from when they're being transferred back out of that blockchain. Now, the beauty of blockchain is it's decentralized, meaning the data is spread apart. But the downside of blockchain, one, is that everybody in the blockchain can see it. Now, if you want your privacy, that's not going to be suitable. The second part would be it is very slow the more data it has. And you can do permission blockchain to try to have privacy. And all permission blockchain does is add spikes to the wheel that actually make the wheel grind slower, right? So the more data you put into it, the larger the wheel is. So the longer the rotation it is. So what we've come up with as a solution is decentralized data, just like a blockchain, but without using blockchain. Colonel Sanders wouldn't tell you how he made his chicken, so I'm not going to tell you how we did it, but we did it. What we've done is we've decentralized the data, we've encrypted it, and encrypted means that it can't be seen. It's like mumbo jumbo, except for the people that are communicating, right?
Oh, you mean like those apps that they have on the phone that are encrypted? Is that what you're talking about? Is it kind of like that?
Yes, that is exactly what it is. Now, I'm not going to call out any names, but those are only encrypted in transit. They're not encrypted in rest. And what happens is, so you're on one of those apps, let's just say, and me and you are talking.
Yeah.
And actually, I have proof of this on 3 different. Telegram just got hacked, so I can say that out loud because it's in the news and they're facing lawsuits. Telegram has been breached, and this is how these things are being breached. It's only encrypted in transit, and so what happens is I make that message. It goes into a data encryption packet, right, and then it goes to a server. Guess where the server is, Tony?
The cloud.
Bingo.
How is that? So how can people say that this stuff is safe? Because I would imagine that, like, when you say that it's in transit, that means that it's on its way to the cloud. So that's encrypted. But once it gets to the cloud, right? And tell me if I'm getting this right. Once it gets to the cloud, then all bets are on.
Yeah, basically. So you have an encryption packet, right? So I'm not going to just say the company. It's a very large company, very popular messaging company. People think they're secure. But the problem is the company knows the encryption. And when it gets to their server, they actually can extract they can see and hear everything you say and then sell that to advertisers. And I'm not going to blame the company because what's happened is these companies, their business models are based on advertisement sales, as well as they can't offer. If you think that you can use a free communication device and you're not being listened to, I got a chunk of the Brooklyn Bridge I'll sell to you. Just think about it. Everybody, just think about it for a second. You've been duped, right? It's not free. If it's free, it's not safe. What are you willing to pay so that you and your wife don't have to go through that again, right? What are companies willing to pay? There was a very large company, actually, I can say Clorox got hacked, and they lost. It's public knowledge. They lost lots of money, hundreds of millions of dollars of profit. They were down. They fired the CIO and gave the CEO a promotion for how they handled it. I would bet you $5 right now, give it a year or two, guess who's going to get hacked again? And guess who's going to get fired? Whoever they rehired for that position, right? So if you're a CIO, a CTO, or whatever, if you're in that area and you're looking for something So you're not in the hot seat. And you're not the one that gets fired when you get hacked. Check our website out. We'll help you out. But that's generally what's happening is, these hackers are just, it's a playground now. I mean, Zoom bombing is literally a slang word. The University of Nebraska was having a forum on Zoom about the Ukrainian conflict when a few months after it broke out, and Russian hackers literally right there in front of the entire university started cursing in Russian and then throwing pornography up in the middle of the conference. To the point where high schoolers can Zoom bomb, right? And Zoom, if you read the terms of service, it literally will tell you anything you say and any data you share, they're allowed to sell to third parties. If you read the fine print, yes. Actually, go on their website. It's right there in plain English. Like, people don't actually read, these. They just click, yes, I'll use it. And they don't realize what they're. This is what I do for a living, Tony, and I'm guilty. I got caught at a park on vacation. I kind of knew. I was like, that's why I didn't put it. I didn't bring in my work devices and just use my personal device. And I'm like, I'm on vacation. I'm going to go ahead and risk it for my kids' sake. And of course, I got hit. But I knew immediately what to do. Fortunately, most people wouldn't. Which is why we do what we do. We want to be able to provide this technology to everything from small corporations, small businesses, organizations, companies. We don't care. We want to level the playing field. We want to get out of this vicious cycle of just basically, Roomba. If you have a Roomba out there, be careful.
Vacuum cleaner, right?
Yes. This is a little bit old news. I was actually on national television talking about this one. A woman had a Roomba, and it was following her around and actually recorded her in the restroom nude, and those photos ended up on the internet on a pornography site. So, like, we're walking around with, this is actually very secure. This is one of our devices that we've stripped down. But if it wasn't, we're walking around with devices that are listening to us constantly. They know where we're at constantly. They see us constantly, even when it's powered off. I would encourage anybody, turn your phone off. Don't plug it in, turn it off. Turn it back on a few hours later, and you'll see the battery's drained. Why is the battery dying if your phone's off, right? It's because it's listening to you. And it's not just phones. Alexa, Google, I forget what Google's is.
I don't trust Alexa. Yeah.
I don't trust anything. And smart TVs as well. There are more and more lawsuits about smart TVs invading privacy. And I'll go ahead and put the New Jersey Board of Education on blast here. My son came home with his Chromebook from school, and it gets a notification saying that it's tracking and listening and watching everything he does while he's at my house. Nothing I can really do about it because of the laws in New Jersey, but to me, that's a vagrant violation of Americans' Fourth Amendment right to privacy. We have a constitutional right to privacy, freedom of speech, and due process, right? And that's another, a whole nother rabbit hole we can go down. There was a day and age where law enforcement, and I'm a big supporter of law enforcement, especially local police departments and sheriff departments, and the federal bureau. I'm a 9/11 first responder. Go get those bad guys, right? But however, I am a Marine, and Marines are taught to do it with integrity, right? It doesn't matter if the other guy got more sleep and more food than you; you still beat him at the game, right? It's gotten to the point, and this is documented. the many agencies have been caught and now sued by going to Google, having apps installed. I'll name one right out of the gate. The Massachusetts Department of Health paid Google to put apps on people's phone during COVID to track them without their knowledge, so they could do whatever it is, viral tracing for COVID, and then send them messages that they needed to get vaccinated.
Wow. And people didn't know.
And without the consent of the person.
Oh,
yes. There was a lawsuit. I'm not sure if it's complete, but it's been filed in law as a class action lawsuit against the Department of Health of Massachusetts. You can Google it. You can Google it if you believe what you're on Google anymore.
So what's the solution to all this, man? This is some scary stuff. And I'll be honest with you, this isn't something that, like, I'm not like you. I don't know all of this stuff. And it's not something that I think about until I've been violated. And that's why I wanted to have this conversation, because, man, I feel really violated. Every time I get an email, I'm like, okay, is this it? So what do we do? How do we fix it?
So what we've done, I know our solution works. I can't speak for any others because they all seem to fail. The DoD got hacked. Windows, Microsoft said they fixed it, and then boom, the raccoon comes up and steals everybody's trash. So pun intended. And the raccoon, by the way, the raccoon virus, it's not just targeting the DoD. It's targeting U.S. companies. It's targeting the energy sector. It's targeting banks. It's targeting a lot of whoever this state backer is. I don't want to disclose too much information, only for national security purposes, just like DoD is not going to disclose too much information. But they're going after our infrastructure and Americans' daily lives and trying to disrupt that. So what we've done is basically, like I was talking about before, how blockchain is decentralized. The data is, it's not just like this cloud of, contract with third party and contract with this third party, not third party, not third, where you can't really do. It's literally like a rain cloud, Tony, like water vapor bumping around, and there's no way you can trace each little piece of vapor. What we've done is we call it a Holo Sail, because our name Holo means full in Greek, a full sail, right? So we call it a Holo Sail. And the way we've designed it is the app itself never stores data. So the app on our phone, if you were to get ours, right? Mm-hmm. I open up my app. I'm not going to show the screen. Well, I'll just do a quick. I have it broken down in groups. I have chats. I can make phone calls. I can do video conferences. I can do. I can share documents. I can do collaborative documents on this. I can do whiteboard. I can do, name it. I can do logistical tracking of anything. Pretty much every back office and front office need you need. And even in personal communications is right here on this app. But the app never has the data. What happens is the app is just the conduit, right? I have my own safety deposit box. The app only, so I say, I'm user, I like the number 3, right? We'll use 369, right? You're user 6, right? Mm-hmm. And my son Cody, who actually knows how to Zoom bomb, and is only 12 years old, which is kind of scary. Yeah. Oh, and it can also get into Google Docs, by the way. So if you're using Google Docs, my 12-year-old son can people send me Google Docs all the time. I'm like, I'm not clicking on that, dude. But all right. So the way it works
scares me.
Yeah, it's dangerous. I mean, I'm smiling only because it's funny because it's true, but it is disheartening and it's very scary because right now we have the Horn of Africa. We have multiple countries literally trying to figure out how to stop this. Not only do we have terrorists, we have pirates that are now emboldened by the terrorists. This is a very serious issue. This is and we already have issues with inflation right now. If you think the inflation is bad now, wait until you can't get any container ships or any ships through the Horn of Africa. It's really going to disrupt our prices. And my question to everybody is, and these are my brothers and sisters out there risking their lives to protect these vessels. So I take it very seriously. And it scares me because how can they protect these vessels if the enemy knows what they're saying? Right? So back to how we've come up with the solution, how much I can disclose anyway without Colonel Sanders telling you how he made his chicken. So I have a safety deposit box. You have a safety deposit box. And Cody has a safety deposit box. I want to share a few things of my safety deposit box with you and him, but I don't necessarily want to share the same thing with you and him, but maybe it mixes. So let's say I have 10 things. I can say Tony gets to see number 1, number 3, and number 5. Cody gets to see number 3 and number 7. The app only translates that, and then from device to device, encrypt it end to end, in transit, and at rest, opens up the safety deposit box, instantly makes that communication. And we've done it in a way, and this is the secret sauce, that is complete digital ghost. So not
cloud.
No cloud, and no blockchain. And it is, as of now, and we've proven it in the field, it's worked to the point where we've been in, I can't disclose exactly where or what, but we've been in the most highly monitored area, hardest to get information out of. And we've got lots of information out, and they had no idea we were doing it for over 6 months in the field. And that was our Gen 3. Now we have Gen 6. So it's even better. And that prevents, you can do everything you do right here. We can broadcast on this platform. We can live stream. If you're a gamer and you want to do I'm not into the gaming thing, but I know there's this like gamer community. Boom. You can do it on our systems and not have to worry about being hacked or your privacy being stolen, or a whole slew of things that can happen. And a lot of people don't realize this, and I'm guilty on this one. I love my kids so much. I put them on. You see my social media.
Yeah, but my kids too. Yeah,
all the time. And the scary part is nowadays with AI, they can literally take a picture of your kid, fast forward it 15 years, and make a fake identity and begin. All they need is, there's a lot of different devices that you can literally buy on Amazon. We've bought a few just to test our technology. We didn't do it for malicious means whatsoever. And within 50 meters, if I'm within 50 meters, I can get into your phone, and all of those secure apps you think that you're using to talk to your friends, I can get all of those encrypted data packets.
Oh, wait,
right?
You must have you have to be very intelligent to be able to do that.
Not at all. I can actually teach my son how to do this. It is something a mid-range hacker could do. Now, the decrypting of the packets you would need somebody, but let's just say it's a state-sponsored or even a criminal hacking group. You don't necessarily need somebody that knows how to hack. You can hand them these devices, send them into an amusement park, which is what happened to me, right? Walk around, and it will just start collecting people's data. Then, because if you remember, I told you it happened a few days after we got there.
Yeah.
You take it back to the boss who knows how to decrypt those data packets.
Wow.
Not only can you do that, I can literally take these devices, stand within 50 meters of you, get onto your Wi-Fi, collect everything that's going through your Wi-Fi, and do the same thing. I can even up it. I can stand next to you, and if you have a newer car with a remote start or electrical key or a thumb key, I can key fob your car. I can key fob your hotel card. I can key fob anything I want, all on the same device that I paid. I'm not going to say how much because I don't want people to go, any hackers or bad people listening to this, going out and buying it. But all on the same device that costs less than $100 on Amazon. And imagine, if you're, there's articles and, the White House is doing this big thing and Congress is doing this big thing about cybersecurity right now. And, they're worried about the all these cranes at the ports that were made by the Chinese. I was working on the port when they first started putting up the Chinese cranes. I watched them build them. And, yeah, they can get the data, but think about this. I hand out 15 of those devices to 15 drivers out of 8,000 drivers that are going in and out of that port. They're in that port for 2 to 3 hours.
Yeah.
How much data are they getting about our port? Especially because our containers are using RFID chips, and these devices, if they can do your car key fob, let me tell you, an RFID chip is way easier to get the data from than your car key. Your car key is actually much safer.
So what about the people that are saying, okay, so what's the danger in that? How the hell does that affect me?
That affects all of us. Toilet paper. Remember the toilet paper shortage of COVID?
Oh yeah.
Do you remember,
even I told my wife, yeah, maybe you should get a couple rows because the fools are taking all the toilet paper.
It's coming around again. It's literally coming around again.
Am I the problem? I'm the fool now.
I'm turning my cup to the Mandalorian side now.
Oh man.
No, but it's true. Stuff, it's very, we're laughing. We can laugh about it because it's Alice in Wonderland. But it's very dangerous, and it's very. I don't think I'm not trying to belittle the American people by any means whatsoever, because I didn't even, look, I got caught, when I took my family to the park. Why did I get caught? And that's,
you have the safest technology in the world.
But I couldn't use the technology because the place that I was at wasn't utilizing my technology. So
imagine if they were.
If they were, they wouldn't have had I wouldn't have got hacked, and their systems would be so much more secure. 100%, yeah, it would be brilliant. But this is what my point is that not only we as the American people have become trapped. I downloaded that app and I deleted it the second I left, but I did it because I wanted my kids to experience that fun, right? We download that app because we want to be part of our community. We've evolved, especially after COVID, into this community where a lot of us communicate through social media, through these so-called secure communication apps, through all kinds of apps and emails, Google Docs, all this other stuff, which are completely insecure. Zoom calls left and right there. Read the fine print. Anybody can see that. If we decide to sell it to you, to somebody, they can see it, right? And I'm going to go back to the law enforcement side in a second. I got sidetracked, but let's not blame the companies either, because they kind of trap themselves as well. And if you're a company, you're trying to make money for your shareholders and for your investors, whatever. I mean, that's the name of the game, right? And so you grow as fast as you possibly can. And what's happened is they grew, like we said, to an element where they need 4 divisions instead of a squad, and they got a squad. Mm-hmm. And that's where we have our, this is where we find ourselves. So not only are we as the, average, family guys and gals and kids and teenagers. And that's another thing. Our school kids, I got a middle schooler upstairs. Thank God I have my circle of friends that teach him, because it is scary. My daughter was on a phone that we disabled, and we were letting her use it just for like certain things. Somebody found a way to Google call her, a grown man. Thank God she's my daughter and I caught it. But she's only 9 years old. Had I not caught it, Lord knows what could have happened. And so
household, who knows what would have happened.
I highly recommend, all the parents, like, it is a crucial mass. I mean, Seesaw got hacked last year. Seesaw isn't being used in schools all over the place. And they were sending pornographic messages to children in schools. And these children were in elementary schools.
What about the Google Chromebooks?
Completely insecure. I mean, I could... my son actually knows how to disable it, and I told him not to because it's against the law. However, they're completely. They're basically anybody can. All they need is your IP address, your phone number. They need very little information to get into your system. Or if they have, like I said, particular devices, they don't even need that. I mean, I think people maybe have heard about the chargers, right? Don't trust other people's chargers if you're in the airport or whatever. It's because they can have chips inside of the chargers that are literally just in the wire, that are just taking your information. So never borrow a stranger's charger.
I'm always running around. Hey man, can I borrow your charger?
Right. And then if you notice this too, you'll never see me with a headset without wires. Bluetooth is so easy to hack. Any Bluetooth device is actually easier to hack than all of the others I mentioned. It's I could teach my 9-year-old how to hack into Bluetooth devices. And it's very it's concerning. Now, let's go back to the law enforcement side of it. Again, I support law enforcement 100%. However, I also support the Constitution of the United States, right? Like Constitution, we have rights as American citizens, and one is our Fourth Amendment right? And we were talking about the Board of Health for Massachusetts, right? They don't need to get a warrant. And this has actually been disclosed from some whistleblowers inside of a handful of law enforcement agencies as well as intelligence agencies. They don't need to go to a judge anymore to wiretap or to get information on people. Why? Yeah, that question. Why? Guess what? Guess who a customer of Zoom can be?
Who?
A law enforcement agency. They can just pay them for your intel.
Wait a minute. So are you saying that law enforcement, they could pay Zoom to get that information?
They can pay Google, they can pay Zoom, they can pay Teams, they can pay any of them.
And so what's to say that they're not doing it now?
Well, they've been caught.
And
they are doing
it. What?
Yes.
What? How?
The FBI got caught with Google. The Department of Health for Massachusetts got caught with Google. GoodRx. This is a good one. GoodRx was, given I think it's very important for people to be able to afford their prescriptions. I think that's a great mission that GoodRx has. However, they got caught with Facebook. They bought information from Facebook to find out who had HIV, and then did a targeting ad campaign solely for users on Facebook with STDs and HIV. And this is all, public information. They got sued for it and everything. And I believe they settled out of court. And this is happening all the time. That's the scary part. And this is to the point where, like, if you start to do searches on the internet, not just Google. Trust me, don't trust Google. I will not go down the rabbit hole on how Google was founded and how it was started, only because, again, I don't want to contribute to the danger of national security. However, you can use Google. but don't believe everything you see on Google. There's a lot of other search engines. Samsung's got one, DuckDuckGo. There's a bunch of, you can do your everybody do your own due diligence. Google's it's a good tool. However, anything you see at this point in day and age, you really have to look at it with a grain of salt. I mean, I'm a contributor to national news, and I'll be the first one to tell you, look at what they say with a grain of salt as well, because you don't know for sure. Everything's so one-sided nowadays, and why is it so one-sided? And I'm not putting blame, but as long as there is argument between you and me, right? Mm-hmm. Me and you disagree on the Second Amendment, right? I think that you should have to pass an NRA test before you can get a concealed carry, and you're like, nah, dude, everybody should have one, right? Trust me, that's not the case. I've been there, and I saw a dude shoot the ceiling, and I was like, that guy should not own a gun, But I'm a big, I believe in the Second Amendment, right? But, dude, that guy should not have a gun. I was nervous, qualifying, because this guy is shooting the ceiling next to me. I looked at the guy next to me like, is this guy going to shoot me? But if we're arguing about these things, right? Squirrel. Meanwhile, we have this big cloud and cluster of you getting a credit card that you didn't get. Right. Me, trying to have fun with my kids on vacation, and my bank, I have to, in the middle of vacation, I got to call and cancel a credit card. And we all can relate to this, right? That credit card paid for a lot of other bills. So then when I got home, a bunch of stuff was canceled, and I had to redo the payment, redo all this other stuff. My iWallet was completely hacked. So every credit card I had connected to the iWallet, I had to cancel and then replace with a new credit card. And then I took extra precautions after that, and I'm never downloading that app again.
Sounds like they need to hire you. That they need to get your services.
It sounds like a lot of people could use our services right now, Tony. And we're able to do massive enterprise level to mid-level to small level corporations, companies, organizations. Like I said before, our whole goal is to end this. Let's wake Alice up from Wonderland, right? Let's get out of that rabbit hole. Let's provide safety for, and we're not solely just for Americans. If you're a company in England, if you're a company in any country that's not trying to destroy us or an enemy against us, an adversary, we want to see this everywhere. We want to be able to help, the up and coming companies. Africa has so much potential right now. Mm-hmm. It is insane, the potential in Africa, but unfortunately, nobody trusts anything that comes from the internet from Africa because of all of the past. I'm a Somalian, Nigerian prince. Give me $2,000, and you go, we want to help that situation out. We want to help everybody out. We want to help the Middle East. We want to help Europe. We want to help South America, Latin America. There's so much potential, and obviously America is our number one priority. We're veteran founded, and but that being said, we're all humans, and I swore an oath to the U.S. Constitution to protect it from all enemies, foreign and domestic. But inside of that Constitution, it says every person has the right to pursue happiness. Right. And that didn't say every American has the right to pursue happiness. It said everybody has a right to pursue happiness. So we want to provide that safe ability to pursue happiness.
So I'm curious if a company, let's say like my company or any company, they're like, hey, I'm listening to this, and we've been hacked several times. How do we connect with you? How do we get your services? Is it an app? How does it work? Without giving the recipe for the chicken.
Without giving the recipe for the kitchen, that's a great question. So we what we've done is obviously we automate a lot of things, but one of the things that we're very careful with is we don't want to. And I mentioned this on the previous podcast. Our mission is to take advanced technologies, and instead of taking humans out of the equation, put humans back in the equation, right? So we do use automation, but we don't use it to get rid of people. We use it to help people and maybe even create more jobs. So that being said, you can go to holosailtechnologies.com, holosailtech.com, holosailtech.com. That's HOLOSAILTECH.com. Right on the front, there's get a quote. We have a vast suite of cybersecure capabilities. Like I said, everything from broadcasting, private social networks, to everything I've mentioned before. Every back office need and front office need you can possibly imagine. And we have get a quote. It has all the different feature lists that you may need. You can submit it, and we have literally an automated calculator. It will give you a price, and boom. Right now it's first come, first serve in line. If you come, please be patient. We'll get to you as fast as we can. There are a lot of people desperate to get out of this cycle of just constant. It's fear, Tony. It's constant fear. I think people are starting to really wake up to it. I'll close out. I went to Stop and Shop with my kids, and this robot was following us around, and my kids, being my kids, started cursing, not cursing her, but like, get away from us, robot, blah, 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 blah. What are you doing? You're invading our privacy. Leave us alone, and the thing kept following us.
You got them trained.
Yeah. holosailtechnologies.com, holosailtech.com. And just get a quote now, and there'll be a whole form right there. It asks what type of company you are, what services you're looking for, what you need to do. And that goes into our automated system, and it will give you a quote. Obviously, if you're a nonprofit, please let us know, in that quote. We do support, as you know, a lot of veteran law enforcement and first responder nonprofits, because that's our roots. Simplify is not something that I take lightly. I'm always faithful to where I came from and who got me to where I am. And I'll always support them to the best to my ability. And to that, I sympathize also to all the American people and all the people of the world, for that matter, as long as you're not, a bad person, all the decent people in the world.
You can't be always faithful to the idiots.
Yeah.
They're out there.
Well, I'm going to quote Gunny McDade on this one.
My boy.
Are you ready? Yeah. I'm going to quote Gunny McDade. One time I was hanging out with him, and we were all talking. He's like, well, you got to give these guys some credit. Could you imagine waking up in the morning, putting flip-flops on, grabbing a tin canteen and a dusty old AK-47, kissing your wife goodbye and saying, I'm off to fight some U.S. Marines.
Brave.
Yeah, you got to give it to them, man. What were they expecting when they walked out that door with flip-flops when, you got the Marine Corps on the other side of that door waiting for you. But yeah, we're not gonna give that guy any of our technology. That being said, what we want to do is make the world a better place. We want to make freedom, safety, security, privacy, and I just want to make sure that, my support for law enforcement is 100%, but that is a violation of our constitutional right. They're using a loophole right now to get around having to do what they used to do, which would be, hey, I need to get I need probable cause. I need to go to a judge. I need to say they're doing something wrong, and then I can get all this data. But we're trapped in this world now where all of our data is just right there for them. They can just, we don't need a judge. We can just buy it.
Yeah, dude, this sounds like a crisis, and it's horrible that I'm not hearing a whole bunch about it in the news. I know you go to the news quite a bit, and you're screaming to the rooftops. Why do you think this is so like hush hush? They're talking about it, but not as loud as everything else.
Well, these companies, like I mentioned before, the 0 day or day one code error, these business models they have for the cloud, the only way to fix it is if they burn it to the ground and start from scratch, which they can't. It's kind of like, big banks are too big to fail kind of situation. So we've gotten ourselves to a situation where these corporations are too big to fail, which I'm glad you brought up, because all of our systems actually can umbrella current systems. So we can bring you in and act as an umbrella, and you don't necessarily have to change your system. So for any of you out there that feel like you're trapped and you can't, there's just too much to do. We have means to bring you into our ecosystem and protect you from this chaos that's happening. And I think one of the reasons why you're not hearing about it also is, I think the American people are already subconsciously aware of this fact, and it's almost better for it to be broke for certain people because they make a lot of money from it. Like I said, there's a whole industry now for fixing something they know is going to get broken again. So there's that as well.
Yeah, so it's like the crooks selling you alarm devices, or
it's kind of like an alarm guy that sells you an alarm device that knows that the crook is going to figure out a way to break it or get around it in another couple months. So he makes another alarm device, and then makes another, knowing that he's going to have a continuous customer.
Oh man, dude, that's so freaking horrible. I'm curious. This is my own selfish question. Do people actually sell data? Is there a place where I can go and I can say, "Hey, bomb this email account," or sell it? Is that a thing?
Absolutely, and I'm not going to tell anybody how to do that on
Please
a podcast.
But
yes, but yes, there is. Oh, it is definitely a thing. It's very, common. And that's where these hackers actually release. Generally, they go on the dark web to release proof that they have made the data breach. It's basically impossible to trace these guys on the dark web. And one last thing, some people hear about the VPN, right? And they think if they use a VPN, they're safe. And VPNs, when it bounces a signal around, and you think that there's no server.
Virtual, what is that? Virtual network?
Yes. And basically what it does is it bounces your IP address to a whole bunch of different servers. I just want to warn anybody listening to this. VPNs are our clientele, our current clientele, require us not to use VPNs because they've been burned in the past from VPNs. And I can tell you that we can scoop VPNs very easily. And we have, when somebody tried to hack our system. And I'm not going to disclose who it was, but somebody tried to hack our system using a VPN. We scooped it, got their actual IP address, got a satellite image of them, and just sent them a message saying, nice try.
What?
So VPNs aren't necessarily as safe as you think they are. Incognito, is this thing. Everybody wants to go incognito and they think they're safe. You're that browser history, you can go ahead and say you deleted it. It's still being recorded. A forensic analyst can go in there and see everything that you've seen, site you've gone to. So all you naughty boys out there watching stuff you're not supposed to and think you're getting away with it because you hit VPN and then went incognito. It's not incognito, and the VPN did nothing. If somebody really wants to find it, they're going to know what you looked at.
Wouldn't that kind of be the equivalent of I don't know. I'm just thinking here. A VPN, you said that it bounces it around. Does that mean that it's just bouncing it around in the cloud several times? Is that?
Yeah, the cloud's a little different. So what the VPN is so you have two separate parts of the internet. The cloud is just where they store the data. The internet itself is the VPN. So your IP address is your actual internet provider address, right? So whoever your IP address is, so that's like your router, right? Or your phone if you're using data. If you're at home and you're using Wi-Fi as your Wi-Fi router. If you're on your Xbox and you're plugged right into your routers, it's that. So you have the internet is one side. And like we mentioned at the very beginning, the internet was never designed to be secure. It was designed to be open sharing by the Navy for scientific purposes. Because if you couldn't share, what's the point of having this system that they built? They originally built it for collaboration, right? So the internet itself is, designed with flaws that allow this to happen very easily. And if you know how to manipulate it, and if you know how to utilize it properly, it's very, very simple. And now with today's technology, like I said, I can go on Amazon, buy a device for $100, and teach my son how to go steal cars if I wanted to. Or steal all the information off your phone and open up a credit card. And that's literally what is happening on a daily basis. I mean, people are wondering, why did I get all these robocalls? Why did I get this credit card open up? Why did, hopefully this podcast was educational enough and I explained it well enough that people can kind of understand a little better how to protect themselves, number one. Number two, definitely be vigilant. And number three, we are here to help and we want to help. So please, if you're in a situation, if you want to open up your, private social network, if you, are a business and you want something where you can track your projects, track your logistics, have your communications, have basically like a 100% secure business intranet type of situation, where you don't have to worry about phishing attacks. This has been tested against all known hacking attacks and malware attacks. It is impenetrable, including AI. AI is now a new thing. AI cannot get through this. And it's been tested at 34,000 feet altitude, traveling just over Mach 1. And that was our Gen 3.
What?
And it worked flawlessly. Yeah.
Whoa. Yeah. If y'all are listening to this, you have a business, you work in the business, you need to be hitting up www.Holo Sail Technology. Did I get that right?
Holo Sail Tech will take you to the website, and Holo Sail Technologies as well. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I never really thought about this stuff, like I said, until I started getting hit, like on a personal level, and then business-wise, just not understanding the way that this worked. And I'm going to tell you, man, it scares the living hell out of me to know that just like that, my business can be gone because everything just like everybody else in this world that has a business, it's ran by this freaking computer that I'm talking to you, and they could just literally tear your life down. So, dude, I want to tell you, thank you for educating me. Thank you for educating our audience. And our audience, I want to urge you to reach out to Johnny, right? If you got some questions, send him a message. He's on LinkedIn. He's on Facebook. He's on Instagram too, right?
Yeah. By demand of my daughter, I'm on Instagram.
Yeah. And you should be, man.
Glad you put it on Insta.
Yeah, you should be where the people are at and educating us, educating people like us, man. So I'm so glad that you volunteered to do this. I'm so glad that you're teaching me. I learned a lot of stuff, man, and I'm scared.
Tony, it's scary. It's scary. It is, and we should be scared. Quite frankly, because it's not getting better. It's getting worse, and I don't mean daily. I mean on the hour. So I highly encourage everybody, whether or not you want to come to my website and be a customer of ours, be careful, please, for your family's sake. And also, when you sign up for these things, you're not just putting yourself in jeopardy. You're putting anybody you have in that contact list on your phone. Guess what you have on there? You have their email address. You have their phone number. Sometimes it's your grandma. You got their address. You just put them in jeopardy too. Just because it was easy for you to say, accept, terms of service, click. Oh, I got a cool new app. Let's play it. Right? Or let's do it. So please be vigilant, protect each other, help each other. And together we can make this world a better place.
Beautiful words, man. I appreciate you. Thank you again, brother.
Oh, thank you, brother. Yeah. Always a pleasure, Tony.
Likewise. Thank you for allowing me to travel with you on your journey. I want to say thank you for the things that you're doing, the things that you've done, and the things that you're going to do, because I know that you're going to do something truly amazing. Remember, I'm here to stand by you as you chase your dreams, lead with greatness, and continue to make a difference. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast so that you can be notified every time we drop a new episode. I'll see you next time on Leaders Lead the Podcast. Peace.